Welcome to another episode of College Cash Corner, the podcast that focuses on helping students navigate their financial journey. I'm Tara, your host, and joining me today are my co hosts, Natalia and Victor. How are you both doing?
Hi Tara, I'm excited to dive into today's topic and discuss budgeting, an essential skill for financial success.
Hi, Tara. I'm ready to share some valuable insights on budgeting with our fellow community college students. Let's get started.
Absolutely. Today, we're going to talk about budgeting and its importance for MCC students and, frankly, everyone. I think many people hear the word budget and cringe a little bit. Do you think that happens?
Yeah, actually, I think it's a very common thought, but it's more because we don't have enough information about finance and we feel scared about talk about budgeting.
For me, I don't think it is cringe in a way. I feel like when people think of the word budget or hear it, they feel more stressed because it's an extra workload to do in their day to day life. So yeah.
That's true. It is like one more thing that you have to manage. I think a lot of people equate the word budget to like diet. And it's like, I'm going to have to give up a whole bunch of stuff. I don't want to do that. So, all right. Well, hopefully we can deter those thoughts um, as we learn about budgeting and what it really is and what it entails. So, all right. So, let's begin with the advantages of having a budget. Natalia, could you share some key benefits?
Of course, having a budgeting allows you to make control over your finance. It helps you track your income, set spending limits, and prioritize your expenses. A budget also helps you avoid overspending and accumulating debt. With a budget, you can save for your future goals, reduce financial stress, and make informed financial decisions to make sure you are spending money on what you truly matters for you.
Excellent points. Now, with that in mind, let's move on to how to set up a budget. Victor, could you give us some practical steps?
Sure thing. Setting a budget starts with tracking your income and expenses, starting by listing all your income sources, including part time or full time jobs, scholarships, grants, student loan money, money that is provided to you by your family, or any money going to you basically. Then identify your monthly expenses such as rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, and any other necessary costs. Next, allocate a portion of your income towards saving and prioritize your remaining funds for various expenses.
That's a great approach, Victor. When looking at expenses, we can categorize them into two categories: needs and wants. Let's discuss the difference between needs and wants that MCC students often encounter. Natalia, can you elaborate on this?
Absolutely, Tara. It's essential to distinguish between needs and wants when budgeting. Needs are essential expenses like housing, food, transportation, and education related costs. Wants, on the other hand, are non essential items or experience that add enjoyment to your life but are not necessary for survival. By knowing the difference between needs and wants, you can allocate your resources more effectively and make conscious spending choices. As an international student, I have learned to distinguish between needs and wants. There are some tips that I can recommend to those who are in the process to become independent or already are. For example, when you do your grocery shopping, always carry a list of things you are missing at your house because these are products you know you will use. Otherwise, it's very easy to end up buying things we don't need. This is because brands know how to market products and our wallet ends being the victim.
Thanks, Natalia. Now let's introduce the 50-30-20 rule, a popular budgeting tool. Victor, could you explain how the 50-30-20 rule works?
Certainly, the 50/30/20 rule suggests allocating 50% of your income to needs, such as rent, utilities, and groceries, and education expenses. Then use 30% of your wants, which can include dining out, entertaining, or personal expenses. Finally, set aside 20% of your savings and debt repayment. This rule provides a framework of balancing your financial priorities, including self-care and ensuring that you're setting aside money for both short-term and long-term goals. Also, this framework provides a plan for all of your money.
Thanks, Victor. So, if I want to start setting up a 50-30-20 budget for myself, how might I go about doing that?
If you already have a regular and monthly income expenses, start by listing all expenses that you have each month. Categorize each expense as a need or a want. Then list any amount of money you set aside for savings. Figure out the total for each of the categories. After that, figure out your total monthly income, the amount of money you can actually spend. Now that you have calculated your total needs, expenses, wants expenses, and total expenses, let's talk about how to calculate each category according to the framework. Take your monthly income number and multiply it by 0.50. That is the amount of the framework suggests will be spending on needs. Then take the total money income and multiply it by 0.20. That is the amount that you will be setting aside for savings and through a faster debt repayment. Finally, take your total monthly income and multiply by 0.30. That is the amount of money each month you should have for spend on fun stuff.
Now you compare what your spending total is to what the 50-30-20 framework suggests, which should be spending it on needs and wants and how much you should be saving. It's very possible that your needs take up more than 50% of your expenses, especially with the cost of everything have gone going up. That's okay. This could look at your needs and expenses and find ways to reduce some of the cost. Maybe you realize that you're spending 50% on needs and 50% on wants, leaving nothing for savings. If that's the case, reduce slash cut out a little bit on wants and shift that amount to savings. Every little bit helps, and over time, set a goal to increase the percentage you need to put towards saving each month.
What about those who don't necessarily have regular monthly expenses yet? Does this framework apply to those people?
Yes, this is a great way to them to start practicing with the framework, getting started on the habit of saving and knowing what they can afford in the future. For those listeners who don't have a regular monthly expenses yet, start by figuring out your monthly income. Then multiply that by 0.50 to know how much you should be spending on needs. Multiply the income by the 0.30 to know how much you will have to spend on fun and convenience. And multiply your income by 0.20 to know how much you should be putting aside each month for savings. Again, this is a framework, and the goal is that needs are covered. Money is being put aside into saving each month, and you still have money to spend on things that make life enjoyable for you.
Thanks, Natalia. Now, let's touch upon the importance of an emergency fund, which would be part of savings in the 50-30-20 framework. Victor, could you shed some light on this?
Absolutely, Tara. An emergency fund is a crucial part of financial stability. It acts as a safety net in case unexpected expenses arise, such as medical emergencies, car repairs, or sudden job loss. It's recommended to save 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in your emergency fund. This way, you can navigate unexpected situations without going into debt or derailing your financial progress. Now, to save 3 to 6 months of your living expenses sounds like a huge undertaking and may seem unattainable. Start small. Set a goal to save up to $500 in your emergency fund first, even if it will take you months to do that. That's okay. When you meet that goal, work to increase it to $1,000. Continue building it until you get to 3 months of expenses saved.
Thanks, Victor. Before we wrap up, let's share some final thoughts on budgeting. Victor, would you like to start?
Absolutely, Tara. Budgeting is a powerful tool that empowers you to take control of your financial future. It might require some initial effort, but the benefits are worth it. Remember, a budget is a flexible tool that can be adjusted as your circumstances change. Start small, be constant, and celebrate your progress along the way.
Well said. Natalia, your final thoughts?
P.S. Tara, budgeting is not about restriction, but rather about making conscious choices that align with your financial goals. It's a skill that will serve you well throughout your life. Take the time to create a budget, track your expenses, and always keep your future in mind. Your financial success starts with a solid foundation.
Thanks, Natalia. Wise words from both of you. Budgeting is simply planning how to spend your money. When you have a plan, the unknown is less stressful, less scary. A plan provides peace of mind. And remember, being consistent with tracking your spending and keeping up to date with your budget will make budgeting a habit, and the practice will get easier over time. Well, that concludes today's episode of College Cash Corner. We hope you found this discussion on budgeting valuable. Remember to create a budget, differentiate between needs and wants, use tools like the 50-30-20 rule, and prioritize building an emergency fund. Before we wrap up, we want to remind our MCC students that the financial literacy team is here to support you in improving your financial knowledge and skills. You can find us on MCC's financial aid website by clicking on the financial literacy section on the left side. There, you can schedule a one-on-one appointment with us, access a free cash course account, stay updated on upcoming workshops and events, and explore other financial resources available to you.
Thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned for more episodes where we will continue to share practical financial insights for community college students.
Take care and remember, big accomplishments start off with small steps.
Remember to stay mindful and make wise money choices. Until next time, take care and continue your journey towards financial success.